Chicago, where I'm in Chicago where many are cold, but few are frozen. That's an old church joke. And thanks for saying that, Kim. You know, I also, the thing that I've been really, my keyword this year is legacy. I think genealogy for a lot of people is a hobby or a game. Ancestry's made it a game in a way, gamification. But I've been doing this for 47 years. I started in January 1977, raised by my great grandparents, and we watched the miniseries Roots, and I got hooked. I was 14 years old. And so, you know, I've been doing this a long time. And what do I have to show for it? What do I have to pass down to my other, you know, to my family? I have 41 first cousins, and, you know, I'm building something for them. And that's what I always think about. That's why I'm a steward, a caretaker for the photos and the ancestors. And I've already prepared what to do with my stuff. And that's something you should keep in mind as well. So we're here for mind mapping your research plans and results. I haven't done this talk in over a year, and I'm really glad that Arizona State Library selected this. I think that if you took Debbie's great research, and you were to mind map it out, you could see a little bit more easily that thinking process. And so I'm going to go through and do that. Also, reminder on the handout, it is my intellectual property. You will see that I always put my email address up here at the handout. And also my handouts are not bullet points, outlines where you have to scribble notes. Everything is here, including an extensive resource list at the back. My goal is for you to learn about mind mapping and then go out and maybe use it today, later today or tomorrow. You can always pick up this handout and say, hey, I want to start learning how to use this or how to do that. Now, there's one exception. I want you to look at this slide. I'm a big supporter of public libraries, historical societies, genealogy societies, and I know what it's like to edit that newsletter that goes out every month or every quarter. So I make my handouts like this is a perfect one as an article for a newsletter. You could even split it in two parts over 2 issues. So just have your editor email me. There's no charge. I just want a little bit of an attribution and a link back to my website. But it's really a good way to share this information with people in your genealogy societies and that. And I will post my email once again when we get started. So what is this mind mapping? What are we talking about? Are we talking about, you know, you're putting some electrode on your head and you're downloading all your genealogy knowledge, especially in the days of artificial intelligence, which sometimes I think is artificial stupidity. But let's go through a brief introduction. So it's a visual map of an outline or a thought process. So think about that. Think about one of your hardest brick walls. Okay, I'll be using several of my scenarios. You may notice that my last name is spelled M-A-C, capital E-N-T-E-E, and most people pronounce it MacEntee. I pronounce it MacEntee as if the A were not there. And there's a whole research family story behind how the name got changed. Because I'm at a point where I could put all this on a to-do list, but I need to see it visual. Okay, it makes an impact. And using colors and dotted lines, you can go really crazy with this stuff. Also, in terms of my background, for over 25 years, I was in the information technology field. So this is before cloud computing. So we had server rooms, and I had to map out processes and things like that. So this is an example. Okay, this is an example of what a mind map looks like. You'll notice the largest entry is in the middle, and this is usually like if I were to say, how did the name get changed from McEntee to McEntee? Question mark. That would be it. I could put a photo of an ancestor there if I'm trying to solve a brick wall. You will see different colors. You will see different size of fonts. You might see connectors and dotted lines. Okay, so this one is just a sample. There is software that can do this, and you can do it by hand. I don't mind going old school. I'm going to take a sip of iced tea here, and I promise it's iced tea. Because I teach so much, if I don't hydrate, I sound like B. Arthur from Maud by the end of the webinar. Okay, so Now, this can actually trace its roots back to a philosopher called Porphyry of Titos, and third century philosopher. I think Titos was in Greece. And there he is. I guess he's giving the good word about mind mapping here, but this is the only image I could find. But he was the one that developed the concept of taking a thought process. And philosophy, a lot of it is logic, and putting it down in paper. Now, the modern term that we call it mind map, and it's attributed to Tony Buzan. I think that he has since passed. He's based in the UK. He was a psychologist, and he promoted its use using diagram keywords and concepts. He was actually on a lot of talk shows in the 70s, from what I understand, talking about this way of solving problems. And that's what we do in genealogy. We actually solve a problem. Okay. So this is his resume. This used to be, and I think this is perfect. What a great idea. Have a mind map as your resume. I mean, this is the man that popularized it. And so it says what it is. He's developed software. He's an author. And in 150 countries, 30 languages, 95 books. He's an educator, sportsman, intelligence, media, advisor. And this is perfect. This looks like it probably is drawn by hand, which is great. There's not a problem with that. But there has been an explosion in mind mapping software. So that's one of my goals here, is not only for you to understand mind mapping, it is really rather easy, but also to make a recommendation on the different software platforms, because some are really, really high learning curve. They're meant for business. They're meant for mapping out cloud servers and programming, and that's not what we need. Okay. But I wanted to give you some background, and this is what it is. Think about it. If I need to organize information visually, now, what I do is, let me go ahead here. I'm going to hop out to the internets here on Google Drive. I'm going to do this there we go. I research using a research log. I believe I have a link in the handout to this, but you see what I do is I have a to-do list for every person. Okay. And yeah, there it is. And green is done. Yellow is still pending. Red was unsuccessful. And then I go through and I research. And Ransom Olds, by the way, invented the Oldsmobile and REO Speedwagon, the car, not the band. And here I go through and every little thing I find. How can I I can't conceive of this visually. What have I completed? What do I still need to do? What if something pops into my head? Do I just add it to my to-do list, or can I add it to my mind map so I visually can see it? I'll close this for now. Great. Okay, so it is a glimpse at action items and the thought process. It is. Now, we all take different approaches. Kim seems to like Post-it notes. I wonder if she uses different colors. Okay, because remember when I showed you that, let me go back. I knew I would need it. There we go. When I showed you my to-do list, I come from a project management background. And we use a traffic light. Think about red, yellow, green. Anything green is go. It's completed. It's done. Yellow is pending. Okay. And red usually means that it's overdue. It could mean it's critical. It could mean that you haven't found anything yet. All right. You can come up with your own color coding system. It's just that when I look at colors, it's easy to do. And you'll see use of colors, both boxes and lines, shapes are important in mind mapping. Okay. So it also, you see how each piece of evidence fits or doesn't fit. Have you ever done a jigsaw puzzle? I bought my 92-year-old father-in-law. We bought him one of those boards, and it's got 4 trays, and you can sort all the end pieces with the smooth edges, and then you sort by color. That's basically what you're going to do with mind mapping. Okay, you're going to move things around. You can print these things to PDF. It's great to have it up on your wall. Okay. You also can see pathways to solutions and avoid retracing dead ends. How many times have you done that? How many times have you ordered a vital record and you didn't realize you already had it? It's hard to keep track of that stuff. So for a lot of people, a mind map also becomes a to-do list. I've seen people just hit X's cross-outs on their boxes, and that means that they're done with that. Okay, so how it works for genealogy. You start with a concept or a proof question in the center. What are you trying to prove? I have another one I'll show you. I have a second grade aunt, and I got a beautiful picture with some writing on the back. And my great grandmother in 1977 told me, oh, that was Anna Austin. She was killed by a runaway car in the Bronx. That's it. I have no maiden name. I have no date. I don't know if it's a true family story. So what do you want to prove? Here's the image. This is the image of Anna McPhillips. I love it. And a little bit of a mystery. That's the only photo I have. Okay. So it really helps to have that ancestor's image or some type of image in the center. The colors are important, and you come up with your own color system. Most people do like the traffic light system. They may use blue, may be something for them. But whatever, and it works for you. It doesn't have to work for anyone else. This is your mind map, unless you're working as a group on something. Connect those ideas. A lot of times I'll do a dash or a dotted line if I'm not sure there's a connection. Okay, you can do that. You can color your lines as well. Remember to use short phrases. This is not where you tell the family story. Okay, this you really, if you've looked at the other mind maps, there were 2-word phrases or 3-word phrases. Okay, and so that really is important. So here's one. Now I have a second great grandmother. I think it's second. The last name is Lehigh. Very unusual. I think it comes originally from France, where it was L'Hive. But it was a situation that was kind of weird. Okay. She was born in 1867 in Greenwich, England. And then the last thing I know, about 1895, she's widowed, living with 6 children in Ulster County, New York, which is where I come from back east. Okay. And then by 1900, all 6 kids are living with her brother. So has she died? What happened to her husband? A lot of questions like this. Here is a mind map. And we're actually going to have fun and work in real time on this stuff. Okay. So here it is. I'm actually going to go to the program. Now, this is a program called, let me make sure I close this. Okay, perfect. I'm going to close my emails too. There we go. So this is a program called Poplet. And I'm going to sign in with my account. Please work for me. Yay. And we're going to go home here. And here is Margaret Lehigh. Okay. Now I am using Poplet, which I'll talk about later. Okay. But this is my central proposition. How, when, and where did Margaret Lehigh die? That's what I want to know. Okay. And then let's look at this. Look at that. I'm using colors. Okay. This is green because this is confirmed information over here. Also, these name badges, I usually turn them off. There, that's better. It's if you're working with a group, that's fine to have name badges. But here, I can go here. I'm going to enlarge it a little bit more. Do you see how I have to move around a lot? I have uploaded the census image. You can upload images here. And I can go ahead and I could make notes. Let's see if we've got notes here. We've got the picture. We've got the text, the font. Okay, so we can't make notes per se. Okay, they've streamlined this. But if I wanted to, I could actually go ahead and upload that. I can upload a URL. I can upload a video or something from Vimeo as well. But that's just, a little bit there. It's not going to be enough for me to actually read information. Okay, it's just a reminder. And I apologize for the moving of the screen. Let me go ahead and go here. Hold on. Let's see if I can do this. Control minus. There we go. And I don't want this one. I just drew this by accident, so I'll get rid of that. Okay. And let's go down here a bit. There we go. Okay, I have a 1900 census here. I have it in blue because I haven't thoroughly investigated it. This is the one where her brother is named with all the kids. I have 1890 U.S. federal census is red. We know that. That's a dead end. Okay. And then the other thing is I never found an obituary. for either Martin Slattery, her husband, or Margaret Lehive. And did you know that New York State had an 1892 census? Yeah. This has really helped some people with the loss of the 1890 federal census. It's peculiar, though. It wasn't done for every county. It was done because, well, New York always did a state census, but they did them on the fives. 1855, 65, 75, 85, and then they skipped 95, 1905, 15, and 25. The 1892 was done because they felt that the population was not counted correctly. Well, it turns out, of all places, Ulster County, the one county I need, is not in that. So I had to put that in the red area. What else do we have up here? Oh, this is one. Remarried. Okay, and sometimes what I'll do is watch this. I'll group like colors together. This is something that's reasonable, right? What if she remarried? I need to take that into consideration? Maybe I should see, if it's, the 1880 census is when I see her. And then I see her in, you would think she'd be named in some probate papers or guardianship. And so, but here, also the 1910 federal census, she's not there. Most of the kids are gone by that point. So, and again, notice how you tend to group things. I should really move this over. Come on, cooperate with me. Come on, boys. There we go. And it's pretty easy with this program to drag things around, and to do that. So I've got this. I've got my I'm not sure stuff. I've got my green stuff. And then you'll notice it's not yellow because they don't have the color yellow. But these are questions. You ever talk to your ancestors? I do all the time. So, well, I want to look at death records. I want to see if there's a coroner report or inquest. Usually an inquest was done when it wasn't considered a natural death. If it was accidental, or as they say, death by misadventure. Probate records, guardianship records. And then as an offshoot of this, I have Ulster County guardian bonds. They required a bond. Okay. So I want to see the Ulster County, let's go here. The Ulster County guardian records. They also have, Ulster County has, there we go. I have to click it first. Sorry. Because of my arthritis, my hands are not great. Yeah, you're not going to cooperate, are you? I apologize. There we go, kiddos. Yeah. And they also had records of infants and guardians. Okay. The other thing is, I should probably look at Ulster County Clerk's Office and see if they have any other records. Also, what about the 1905 New York Census? I can actually change this color to blue and move it over here. Okay. And let's go, kiddos. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not there we go. And I could put it over in this area. So you understand the concept, right? We're going to go through a few more and then we'll do some real work. All right. And it's a lot of zooming in and out. This is a very simple to use program compared to other platforms. Okay. And you can draw lines and connect them, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my slides. And see, I have all these things there. 1892 census, when I did this, originally it was yellow or orange because I didn't realize that Ulster County was not included. Now it's turned red. Here is also, so these are other questions that I can add as well. Did Michael Lehive, the brother, have guardianship over the Slattery children, or were they just dumped on him? The son John appears in 1900 census living with Margaret's brother, Michael Lehive. So these are little notes that I'm making. Here's another one. I told you the story of my family changing the name. Now, this is the family story I was told. Elmer MacEntee, spelled MC, who was my great-grandfather, could not find work in 1900 in New York City because it was anti-Irish. Irish need not apply. So we added the A to make it look like a Scots name. I also heard other stories that he had gotten into a religious argument with his father, John MacEntee. John decided to stay Catholic, whereas Elmer decided to become Protestant. And so there was a change there. So this is something that I wanted to prove. Okay. I'm going to use mind mapping, of course, to sort all this out. And let me go here. Let me go back. I go home. Now, you will see with the free version, what am I here? Oh, let's see, get up here. Perfect. Okay. Well, I have the paid version. I'll go over the pricing on Poplet. It's really reasonable. But if you were to use this for free, there's a free version. And I urge you to do that to get some practice. I think that you're allowed one free Poplet is what they call it. Here's the MacEntee and MacEntee surname. And let's see what I have. So I have my proof in the middle. Prove how MacEntee changed MacEntee. Okay, these are the two family stories that I have. The A was dropped in and Fighting Brothers. And this is my to-do list. Well, let's look at death records. Turns out that Elmer was born in MacEntee, but was buried as a MacEntee. Okay, so we have some transition there. In the 1900 census, he's a MacEntee. In the 1880 census, I believe he was, or his rest of his family were MacEntees. And then over here, city directories. So I have this here. I can easily get rid of that. So I have to do city directories. I want to do census records. And I haven't, these are all the census records. Oh, there was an 1895. Sorry. These are the ones that I want to do. These are those. Okay. And I could group them. I'm limited in terms of the number of notes on these. Okay. They used to have a function where you could actually attach a note. Notice, remember, I can get rid of these stinking name badges. We don't need no badges. And there we go. Okay. Really simple. And they're easy pretty much to move around, to add. If you want to add one, you come up here and you say you make a new popple, and it's called a popple. And you can come over here and you can draw a connector like that. Okay, you can change color, you can add text. I can add another one. You can actually copy the popple. Okay, and so I find it a fun program. This is very big with elementary schools. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say it's dumbed down, so even a fifth grader can use it, but you know what I'm saying. It's not complicated. Uh, I think there's too many bells and whistles on some of the other programs to do that. Let's go back to our, now this is an interesting one. So come along the journey with me. Marjorie Pauline Frost, this is what happened. So I was contacted by a bookstore, a used bookstore in Oneonta, New York, which is a little bit an hour north of where I grew up. It's not far from Cooperstown, where the Baseball Hall of Fame is. So someone dropped off a carton of books, and basically that they wanted to give or have sold. And in that was a baby book. It was in the name of Marjorie Pauline Frost. Based on the information, it was determined that it was March 1st, 1926. So the end of this story, I'll tell you, the end has a good outcome. This is the book. Isn't this beautiful? This is in the arts and crafts style. It says, "This book is my own, and I'm going to sign my great big name on the little wee line, Pauline Marjorie Frost." She actually went by Marjorie Pauline Frost. That's one of my tips on searching. Always swap the middle name and the given name. Now, isn't that good? You can read every letter. Mother held my hand, or it would have been better. Dear doctor, I know you are busy, but maybe you will sign in this line just to please a good baby, Dr. J.E. Jones. Every clue counts. Photograph of my first name, of my first home. Well, that's not there. And then, and nurse, here's a line that was meant just for you. If the fairies annoy you, just tell them to shoo. Notice the last name, Frost. So, yeah. So maybe Mabel Frost is a nurse or a midwife. Okay. And here, now this was the these were the clues that we needed. We gathered clues from this, my first outing, and I've translated it here. All bad grammar and all. My first trip away from home was on March 20, 1926. So we can assume She was born shortly before that. I went to Mohawk and stayed at Aunt Cora's and Uncle Charlie's. No last name, but still worth recording. I seen my great grandmother Frost. Wow. So she has a great grandmother that's living. Okay. While I was there. Okay. That was in Mohawk. Then I went to Fort Plain and visited Aunt Mabel and Uncle Kenneth. Well, I bet Aunt Mabel married into the Frost. Kenneth was a Frost, and that was the nurse for a couple of days. I also see my grandfather and grandmother Frost. So that would be the father's parents. Then I went to Warren, New York, called on my great grandmother and grandfather Forte. I'm going to make the assumption that if it's grandmother Forte, that basically could be the mother's maiden name was Forte. From there, I went to visit my great grandfather and grandmother Crossway. Look at all these great grandparents. Okay. I stayed 2 nights there. On March 25th, I went back to Watertown. We can establish Pauline Marjorie Frost or Marjorie Pauline Frost being in Watertown, New York, in St. Lawrence County on March 25th, and we'll assume that that's where she was born. She went back there. So we had all these things. How are you going to keep track of this stuff? I will tell you, though, I solved this on Twitter with a bunch of genealogists, and we solved it in one day. We found a living niece who actually didn't realize that that precious book went into that book carton and was able to retrieve it. It was really great. And here it is. Let me go ahead and see if I can find it on. Come on. Here it is. Now I have this line up here for some reason I can't get rid of. I think I was using an older version. So here's Marjorie Pauline Frost. These are the questions I started asking. Is she still alive? And I'm going to use an abbreviation. It could have been that she was still alive. This happened probably 12 years ago. Okay. Does she have living relatives? And these were actually read. She was not still alive. She didn't have direct relatives. What was her married name? Who turned in the baby book? Okay. What do we have? We know she's born about March 1926. We have this book. These are things that we want to do. We want to find her in the 1930s U.S. Census. Unfortunately, she was she wouldn't be in the 1925, although her parents could. So that's why we have it here. We also want to search the obits to see if the thinking was this at the time, excuse me, maybe she died and the family was cleaning out her house. Turns out they did clean out her house, but she went into assisted living, into a nursing home. These are the other things that I need to do. Search the parents, Marjorie Pauline Frost, the Frost grandparents. Search Mabel Frost, Kenneth Frost. They were married. She was the nurse. Search the Crossway great grandparents. Search the Forte great grandparents. See? And see how easy this pretty much is. Okay. It's easy to do. I find it takes a little bit of practice, like anything. But isn't this a great way? And I could see it right up on my genealogy cave wall right now, helping me solve this problem. Let's go back to our slide. So let's talk about some mind mapping platforms. Then we'll get to this mysterious death of Anna Austin. So these are the ones I like. Poplet. I will tell you I am biased. I used to be a certified Microsoft trainer, office trainer for years. And I always use the KISS concept. Have you heard of that? KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And that's what I do. So the pricing I think is phenomenal. You can make one Poplet for free, but look at this. I pay $20 a year for access to this, and I can make as many as I want. Okay. And they do have a bigger, so it's, I just got billed last week for this. But I use it all the time when I'm doing research, because when I sit down, I want to think it out and treat it like a puzzle. Sometimes I wish they had puzzle pieces, okay, to do that. So this is one that I'm really biased towards. I know that I have some notes in the handout. I'm going to go ahead and consult them here to make sure that I have up to date. Yeah, and so there also is an iOS app. There's an app for the phone, but I believe it's for
Mac for Apple phones only. So that's there. I'm going to close it. Oh, we'll get into that in a minute. Ayoya, I think that that's what it's called, Aoya. And so they say that it's great. It's AI based mind maps. And so did I get it right? Aoya, Ayoya. So mind map for free. Try it out. I have not tried it out. It looks like a lot of fun. It is working with artificial intelligence. I found in my cursory review that it's more meant for business than anything. Kaggle is very, very popular. Look, this even looks like the one that Tony Buzan did. Okay, it's $5 a month, which is standard for more features. Okay, and they're very, very popular. In fact, I think they're owned by Canva. If you know Canva, Canva creates presentation materials, templates, invitations, all of that. It looks very much so like it is might be part of Canva, so I'm not sure. So let me go and close that one. I want to say Scrapple, you know me with my New York, upstate New York lingo, but it's Scapple. Scapple is run by a company that caters to writers. They have a lot of tools and platforms to make it easier. So it's a way of organizing thoughts. Think of it, if you were to write some historical romance, right, you would need to map out your plot and your characters and everything. So it makes sense. I know a lot of romance writers that use genealogy software, believe it or not, when they're doing these big epic books. So they have a neat program, though. They have a 30-day free trial, but it's not a standard you start and then 30 days later. They track how much you use it. So it might be possible for you to use this for a longer period of time. Xmind is the leader right now. Xmind is the leader in mind mapping for corporations from a professional standpoint. I find it has a very, very high learning curve. It would be difficult for the basic user to use. So that causes me not to be a fan. There's also this, and I will say it. Do you remember these templates? I bet you do. We used to use these in IT before we had software, and we would map out server processes. And look, you've got all the shapes, you can do it. There's nothing wrong with doing this and doing it in pencil or doing it in pen with color pens. I use color gel pens all the time. And then, use the straight edge to connect the dots, etc. So these run about, I'd say, $10 on Amazon, and there really is nothing wrong with doing that. So I'm going to let's go live to, let me see. Let's finish the best practices. Remember that mind mapping takes time. Okay. It does take time. It's going to be slow to start. You'll have to get the hang of whatever platform that you use. Please feel free to be messy. I am messy as heck on it. I'll have stub lines or I'll have extra boxes or I'll go in and I'll misspell something. It's a playboard. It's someplace like finger painting. You can be messy and you should be. Remember, you go big in the center. Okay, let's do it that way. Also, start simple. There's my KISS concept, KISS. Practice, practice, practice. Remember, that's how you get to Carnegie Hall. You practice. And remember to use color. Color is really important, but it's up to you what those colors mean. Okay, and develop your own style. That's important. You can use whatever you want. You could use emojis, you can use stickers, post-it notes, anything like that. And also remember to make your own template. That's what I found. After doing a few of these on Poplet, I created a basic one. And it had basically a shape in the middle, a big one for what I was trying to prove. And then I would put a few reds up here, a few greens down here, boxes that I could fill in later. And then you just open that and you make a copy of the whole Poplet. So remember, Poplet is the big chart. A Popple is the little thing there. There is also, I'll come back to this. Let's have some fun here with with Poplet. Hold on. There we go. We'll go to Poplet. We are going to take care of Anna Austin here. And where are we? Boom. Okay, I'm going to log in. Hopefully they remember me. Yes, they do. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a new Poplet. I'm going to go ahead and pick blue. And I'm going to say the mysterious death of Anna Austin. Oh, gosh. I am doing Swedish typing today. So go ahead and create the Poplet. There we are. Blank canvas. Okay, that's it. And now I just clicked that. Okay, I could come up here and I could change the color. That changes the background color. I think I'm going to go to yellow. I like that easier. And here I can say make a new popple, copy a popple, paste a popple. Okay, I'm going to make a new popple and there it is. I'm going to zoom out a bit and I'm going to move it down here, then zoom in. I'm going to get rid of my name badges. I don't like those. And right in here, I'm going to say how and how. Yeah, how, where, and when did Anna Austin die? Great. I'm going to make this, maybe I'll just leave it black. Okay. And if I wanted to, hey, why don't we do this? Why don't we go ahead and upload a photo? Wouldn't that be great? So I'm going to do this, upload a photo. Let's go to downloads. And there she is. Yeah, that's kind of neat, right? Okay. And I'm going to do that. Now, what I was told, this is all I was told, is I wasn't given a date. I wasn't given her maiden name. So where do you think we should do next? Well, I think we should look at this photo. Okay. And I'm going to go, I don't know if I can do it. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I can do it right here. I'm going to go download and let's look at this photo. So when do you think this photo would be? Definitely in 1920s, right? So why don't we pick the mid of the decade? Why don't we say 1925? She's wearing a cloche hat, wearing an unstructured dress with no real waistline. Okay. Her age, we'd say probably late 20s up to maybe mid 30s. Okay. That's what I'm saying that it could be. Okay. So what will we do on our Poplet? So first thing is, well, why don't we look for obituaries? Okay. So I'm going to make a new popple. I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to turn the color to this closest I can get to yellow. And I'm going to say here, I'm going to say check obituaries and death notices. Oh, and you have to spell right, Thomas. Okay, great. There's that. If I wanted to, sometimes I'll do the boxes and then I will draw lines later. Okay, I can go ahead and copy this. Did I copy it? No, I didn't. Let's see. I thought I did. Oh, you have to go and then you have to paste the popple. There it is. Okay. So I can go ahead here. What's another thing that we should check? Probably if it was a car accident, we're going to check newspapers. Okay. And see, this is how it becomes really easy. I'm going to move this up and just do paste popple. And I've got that sucker already there. Okay. And then what else would I do? How about coroners? Coroner inquest. Great. These are simple. Let's do this. We will do paste popple, and we're going to do death certificate. So we will do death certificate. And you see how this comes about. Okay. Now, the other thing that's really important here is New York had a 1925 census, New York State Census. Okay. Well, let's talk about some of these. I'm going to paste over here this popple, but I'm going to do it a little bit different. We're going to organize and we're going to say, check US Census
1920, and 1930. Okay, perfect, right there. Great. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to copy this one because this way it'll paste it near, oh, it won't paste it nearby. I hate you. There we go. We will go ahead and we'll also check New York State Census, 1925. Okay, perfect. What else do you think that we need? Well, the thing is, we also want to know, we don't even know her her surname that she was born with, her maiden name, right? So that's another one that I want to do. I want to say paste Popple. Okay. And I'm going to come down here and I might want to turn this just for shiggles, turn it something different. And we will say verify, find last name and family. Okay, great. Now there was another clue that I didn't show you. Okay, and so I don't know if I can add more than one photo. So I'm going to go ahead and paste my Popple here. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make this blue. And I'm going to say, confirm husband and children. Oh my God, I am still hooked on phonics today, I swear. Okay, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to add a photo, upload a photo. And guess what? There was a little note here. It said Mrs. Morris Austin. It was pronounced Morris. Anna Austin, Dorothy and Eugene's mother. Yeah. Okay. And then we can start doing lines here, you know? Uh, yeah, I should say drawing lines, not doing lines. Oops. Now, why did you do that? Boom. Yeah, it has a habit of doing that. That's why sometimes you want to do lines. Oh, come on, boys. There we go. And this one's not going to behave, right? Let's see. So I have to figure out why it's doing that. I'll just throw it over here. They've changed it. It used to be that you could just draw lines between two like this, but they seem to be giving you a Popple. So there's no line. Thank you and go away. Goodbye. So it is better to do the lines. But here, let me show you what I have. I could go ahead and also share this. You can print it to PDF. In terms of sharing it, you can also make it public. See? And that way you could add your email and send it to people via X or via Facebook. I'm going to go home here. And actually, we do have Death of Anna Austin, and this is what I had. So it turns out I can probably find her up here. Find her. I don't want to do that. I want to search kids. Sorry. Search. I'm going to do Anna Austin. There she is. Turns out that her real name is, and we found this, it's Anna McPhillips. She was born October 27th, 1887. She did end up dying on May 8th, 1925. She died at Fordham Hospital. She died of hemorrhagic traumatic ruptured spleen, struck by pleasure auto. That was the term used, accidental, where she's buried. I have everything over here. Here's the index. I think I actually found the death certificate itself. Let's see. There it is. And I'm a good boy. I always have a link to everything. And sure enough, I did find this information, basically what her home address was. Okay. So this is what it turns out to be. It was a runaway car and it had jumped the curb. A man was trying to avoid hitting someone in the street, and instead it went out of control. He was sued. They won $10,000, which is worth about $150,000 today's money. The husband, Maurice, it should say, it was listed as Morica. And so all of that stuff, even, you want to know how bizarre this is? This is just really bizarre. There were newspaper articles. So, First thing is, New York Times had an article. Okay. And I don't know if I can find it or the link. Let's see. Yeah, I found this one, and this is dated May 8th. Okay. And I can't necessarily show it to you, but yeah, it was here. And it said it injured 5. It turns out that these kids had loosened the brakes on a car that was parked on a hill. And it went and it hit people near a transit stop. And wow. Well, guess what? What is the likelihood of there being 2 runaway cars in the Bronx on May 8th? Well, let me tell you, kids. Yeah, they were there. Oops, I hate you. They were there. Let's go back over here. Did I get it? No, we're going to go over here. Hold on. I'll close that. Here, let's see. Are we on newspapers? This is the one. The Evening Post had the actual story. I freaked out when I found out that there were 2 different stories. This was the story, and I can pull it up on an image right here. Do I have it? I might have to go to deleted stuff. Hold on. Yeah, I don't have it available, and I apologize. But here on the New York Evening Post, there was an article. Where is it? Killed by auto on sidewalk. And there it is. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, but did you see how mind mapping it really could help you? And let me go back. I know I'm jumping, but I wanted to go back to the Poplet. I mean, this is not as elaborate as the final one, but yeah, it turns out she was not in the 1925 New York Census, which the census day was June 1st. So she had died May 8th. There was no mortality schedule for that. So I didn't, but I did see that Morris moved back in with his parents in the Bronx, and Dorothy and Eugene were the 2 children. Those are my great aunt and great uncle. I knew them growing up. So it was really nice to solve this. Let's get back to the slideshow. This is a book that I highly recommend. This is hard to find. It might be out of print. Ron Ahrens, unfortunately, just passed away last month, 68 while he was running. Really tragic. He was a great genealogist, but he has written the book, and it is available on Amazon. But I would look for it. You could probably get it from a local library. Go to WorldCat and try and look for it. We're at the question and answer. So I'm going to have Kim help me if she's my helper. Feel free to email me your questions. This is highdefgen at gmail.com. I'm going to take your questions as well. But this is my email address. Okay. Don't feel that you're bothering me. Just know that I take 48 hours sometimes to get back to you because I get 200 to 300 emails a day. I'd like to know what you thought of this. So I'm going to stop my share temporarily. Kim, what'd you think?
To answer your question that you asked me, yes, I'm a big fan of using colors.
Good.
On
so
my
you use different color Post-it notes.
Yes, and
Okay.
I went to the dollar store and got the folder cardboard thing that kids
Right.
do. I'm very old school.
Some people use a dry erase board. You know, they have dry erase boards. I know one person uses the big paper easel, you know, that you use at conferences, and then take them and, you know, you can hang them. So yeah, so that's great. How are we doing on questions?
Questions. We are doing good. Just a second. I got to finish this one thing. We have some.
Okay.
First off, you said the question was, I use an iPad almost exclusively. Do the tools refer to work on an iOS format?
Yeah, all of the platforms that I show have an iOS component or app. They do. Because a lot of them are used in the corporate world, and they know a lot of people use tablets. So as far as I know, also, if you were willing to use, if you didn't want to use the Poplet app, you could just pull it up in a web browser in Safari on your Apple Book, iBook, or whatever tablet you're using. Yeah.
The next question, can you print out the Poplet?
Yes, you can. Let me go over here. And the author, by the way, someone asked, it's Ron Ahrens. Ron Ahrens has it's not all here. He was famous for his book, The Jews of Sing Sing. And so he comes from a Jewish mafia family, from what I understand. He was a great guy and a real loss, his passing. But here, what you can do is you come here to the wheel and you say uh, print and export PDF. And I can print it to my printer or I can save as PDF. And that's what you can do through Poplet. All of them have a print to PDF, and all of them do have a collaborate feature as well. Yeah.
The next question is, if you have a subscription to Poplet and then you stop paying for the subscription, does your research go away?
Your research doesn't go away, but you can't make edits to those Poplets that you created. So I
it
did let
becomes
my, I didn't let mine lapse. And so what it was is that's why I think on some of these earlier ones where I couldn't remove like the stub of a line, I think it was when I had my first subscription. And then it's one of those things. So, or it may have been when it was free. I don't know. I have a help call into them. But what I know is I did let mine lapse and I signed in free and I could still open them, but I couldn't move them around. I couldn't make edits.
Okay, the next one is you keep showing your relationship between the Poplet and the research log.
Yeah.
So I guess the question is, you obviously have to use these things together to know
No,
your question and what you've accomplished.
not necessarily. I use a research log to stay organized. Some people, like on Ancestry, they use the shoebox, which is a place there. However you stay organized. I know because I've done professional genealogy where I've had court cases and I need to present evidence. I can't just tell the judge, oh, it's on that Ancestry family tree. That's not going to cut it. I have to turn in. Notice on this one, I wound up finding 30 different records related to Anna McPhillips and her death. I've had some where I've had 100 records for one person, and I also track this to-do list. I have name variations. This template is in your handout and you can actually download it. I have a research checklist here with everything that I should be checking. And I think that I even have a translation of terms list. Okay. So you don't have to have a research log to have a mind map. So I don't want to say that you have to do it that way. Yeah.
And so the next question was asking about the tabs, but you just said that you put a link to the research log in our handout. Is that correct?
Yes, you can download it for free. Yes. And yeah, and you can go to my site. Let me see if I have my site up and running. I hopefully do. Yeah, if you go to my site, Genealogy Bargains, and you go to cheat sheets and ebooks, you'll see I have a lot of free stuff here. And here, using and managing a genealogy research log. And then after that should be the research log, downloading it. Okay. So, but the link to this free Excel download, and it imports cleanly into Numbers. It imports into Google Sheets very cleanly. And a lot of people use it because this is part of legacy building, folks. What happens if I keep everything in Ancestry and they go belly up? I have to download it to a GEDCOM. It doesn't necessarily download the images. You see what I'm saying? I want to make sure that I have stuff on my machine because I'm the steward of that information. And the thing is, I want to be able to pass it down. So, yeah, good
All
question
right.
though.
Someone said that they didn't see the research log
Okay, let me
on the
see.
handout,
Let me
but
see. Yeah, we could probably post it in the link. Let's see. No,
again, just
you're
go
right.
to his
No, you're right.
website.
Well, here, let me just do the link. Let me do the link. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take this copy link address. I'm going to put it in the chat because I think you all are saving the chat, right?
Yes.
And sending it to them. So I apologize for that, everyone. Here's the genealogy research log. It has a sample in there. It has instructions. Okay. And then what I'll also do is I will take this, go back. Here we go, cheat sheets and ebooks.
go to the next one. Here, I'm going to do this. Copy link address and to chat. There we go. And I will say syllabus using and managing genealogy research log. And I apologize for that. Yeah.
Everyone, just go to Thomas's website.
Yeah, you can poke around, and I've always got some neat stuff. And also if you want anything on sale, they're running 30% off on newspapers. I also have a cheat sheet on a virtual tour. If you want to do Roots Tech virtually, this is a free download about the best way to get set up. So yeah, great.
So, and again, let me put a plug in, is if you see something on Thomas's site and that in your society's interested, he's a big supporter, pro-society, to help newsletter editors, but they must reach back to him.
Because I track everything, and it happens maybe once a year. Someone will take my stuff and put it up on the internet. So it's not that bad.
So he's a great resource.
Thank you.
In that.
Thank you.
So I don't see any more questions. What I do see is great job. We love you. And well, of course, I'm prejudiced.
You're biased.
I love you. And being on the committee, I got to say.
Thank you. And thanks for this opportunity. I was looking forward to it this year, and I'm glad I was well enough to be here at home and not in the hospital. So yeah.
Goodness, we are too in that. Yeah, so, and we may have to have you back in 2 years to see where we are on this mind mapping thing.
Well, I think the next thing will be artificial intelligence, because in 2 years, it's really going to explode in genealogy. It's already going there. So that might be something that you want to do in 2 years. So
I'm a paper girl, paper colored,
I know. But it's better to know what you don't want. It's better to know the enemy that you don't want to use, right? And at least know about it. You don't have to use it. So